Hello folks, it's always great to be back for another free tutorial of the Scoring Tools Masterclass. I'm always striving to provide the best MIDI orchestration content for you, which could not be different this time. Today, we will run together what I call the ultimate test for a reverb. And what I have in hand is the brand new Berlin Studio from Samplicity. Berlin Studio Convolution Reverb reproduces the ambience of Teldex's studio situated in Berlin, of course. Nothing can be further from the truth. Convolution reverb is like samples of the ambience of a specific venue. We have many convolution reverbs on the market, and it's clear that only some deliver an accurate result. Impulse responses are fingerprints of the reverberation of venues. Some even come with specific mic positions, which is the case of Berlin Studio. However, it's challenging to check if the impulse response accurately replicates the hall in which it was recorded in. For a fair comparison, we would need a dry and wet audio file of the same recording. The dry would be the spot mic, and the wet would be the surround mic, for example. Here's an example of the same staccato on different mic positions. I have loaded up the Flute 1 from Revive. And let's start with close 1. Close 2. Alright. They're both close, but they sound different. Or F. A little ambient, but still close. On AB, we can start to sense the ambience of the hall. Decca 3. Sounds nice. And finally, the furthest one, surround. Now, in theory, an impulse response of these mic position applied to these mic positions, the close ones, would make these guys sound like these guy. But in reality, this is not what happens with most reverbs. The IRs may sound nice in your dry instruments, but they don't accurately mimic the early and late reflections, the color of the hall, and especially the sense of distance. For a fair evaluation, we would need an instrument like this one with more than one mic position, plus the impulse response of the hall. We usually don't have both, which leaves us composers hoping that the impulse response accurately represents the place it was recorded in. But that's not the case of Berlin Studio and Orchestral Tools libraries. Samplicity has captured the impulse responses of Teldex's studio, which is the same place where Orchestral Tools recorded their libraries. Awesome! Now we can compare the actual recording with the impulse response. And this is what I call the ultimate reverb test. Will it work? Let's find out. Okay, I'm gonna open up a second instance on vPro of the same patch using Flute 1 Multi. Okay, now what we have is one instance of the original with the surround mic. Articulation is staccato, surround, and another instance with the articulation staccato, but instead of surround, I'm using close 1 and 2. I'm going to apply Berlin Studio to this patch so that those close mics will match the surround mic of the original. The first step is to set where we are and where we want to go. And in this case, I want these close mic positions to match these. Now comes an important tip. The first rule of thumb when testing reverbs is to use short articulations. No matter which instrument you are using, always use short articulations. You may use staccato, spiccato, or pizzicato, whatever you like. And this is what I have here. Staccato here. And staccato here. The goal here is to get the shortest sound possible so we can better appreciate the positioning and reverb tail. Let's open up an instance of Berlin Studio on the dry microphone positions. And here's the beast. It's a very simple and nice GUI that defies even a manual. Here we have what is called recording stage. As a default, it comes with violins 1. Here are all the positions of strings, plus trumpets, bones, and tuba. Woodwind, which is the one that we'll be using because we are using flute. French horn bells forward, French horn bells up, and French horns normal. Percussion forward, percussion upward, percussion large, and choir. Plus mid-stage wide and surround. Here we have input, which is the amount of input that we receive from the patch. We have the dry signal, Decca tree mics, AB pairs, and surround mics. These three mics are contained in the patch that we are using now. And last but not least, the amount of output. Over here we have the knobs where we can fine-tune our mic positions by using size of the room, the amount of tail, the amount of early reflections, and the amount of delay. Let's bypass for the moment and hear how it sounds without Berlin Studio. Surround mic. And Berlin Studio. And here is the close mic. And what can Berlin Studio do sounding out of the box? Let's see. It's really impressive. It sounds almost like the original surround, but we have to fine-tune it. And the first thing I'm gonna do is to switch it to woodwind's position. It looks like tail already match, but Berlin Studio is a little bit upfront. Why don't we try the surround, since this is the one that we are looking for. But getting closer, but not equal yet. What about if we just solo the surround mic and the dry signal? Surround is the sound that we are looking for, and the dry signal. And with the dry signal, we can put it backwards or up front. Original is further. Just the surround. Now just the surround. Surround is way much further. Let's try to match the amount of volume. Not bad, but the original has more bite in the attacks. Let's put this guy to 0. Okay, it was too much. Let's put back a little bit of the dry signal. Sounds good to me, but we have to fine tune. A little bit less. Okay, the first steps have been done. We have matched the mic positions and volume, which are the macro elements of the reverb. From now on, I will fine-tune the match by using the micro elements, which are these knobs. But now, instead of playing the notes on the keyboard, I'm going to record a small phrase on a MIDI region. Copy and paste it on the next channel. And now comes the trick. By looping it, I can compare both closely without the need to switch channels or play the keyboard. From now on, I will be fully concentrated on the knobs now. Let's put it to play and get into the details of the knobs. I will reduce the amount of talk to the minimum and maximize the amount of action. Let's go. Okay, it sounds good. It looks like almost the same. Let's bypass and compare the original with the dry mics, and then Berlin Studio applied it to the dry mics. Bypassed. The verdict is Berlin Studio delivers the promise, and it's an excellent way to match your dry libraries and close mics with the orchestral tool stuff. However, that's only part of what you can do with such a tool. Once you have the close mics matching any other mics, you got the prerequisite to apply what I call the Gardini technique. If you want to learn one of the Gardini techniques, proceed to the next video. Okay, in the previous video we have matched the dry mic position of Reverb, and we have successfully done that by using Berlin Studio. One of the Gardini techniques I will show you today consists of creating ensembles out of solo instruments. This technique has been largely used by many composers. However, now we can perfectly match one dry instrument with a wet one. This setup that I created works like a blueprint for matching a dry instrument to the orchestral tool's flute. Since we have the Berlin Studio version matching the original, we can drag the MIDI file here, and they are going to sound like flute A2, sounds nice. But that's not all. We can further improve realism by adding a slight detuning to one or both flutes. Let's get this one and add a little bit of pitch bend. And just a little bit, maybe -3. How it sounds. Sounds like two flutes in unison for me. It's a marvelous, tiny trick that adds a lot to your music. Just make sure to use it sparingly. Okay, let's bring to the game a dry instrument, and this time I will choose swam flute. And it sounds like this out of the box. And again, the first step is to adjust the macro parameters, which in this case is the volume. Modern instruments are usually too loud. Let's put it back to around -15. And then put to 0 the reverb mix and reverb time. Now we have the original surround mic from Orchestral Tools and swam flute with no reverb at all. I'm gonna open up an instance of Berlin Studio. And apply these parameters to the other one. But before doing that, I will save as. Okay, I have saved it as a preset. And now we have the blueprint. Let's see. And it sounds like this. Of course they don't sound the same because they're not the same flutes, but the ambience is quite the same. Let's mix together the original and swam flute. Sounds like two flutes. And if we apply a little bit of the tuning here, we're gonna have a better realism. Let's put to 5 minus 5. Now we have come up with Flute A2 in a very versatile way. Regarding the detuning thing, the secret to making it sound perfectly realistic is more than just a simple change on the pitch bend. There are specific situations where you may detune up or down and apply more or less detuning. But that will be fully explained in the next lesson of Scoring Tools Masterclass. I hope you have liked these 2 short tutorials free from Scoring Tools Masterclass. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget the bell button so that you can get the warning whenever I release a new video. And if you are a student of Scoring Tools Masterclass, I will see you in the next chapter. If you are watching it on YouTube or any of my social media, make sure to check out the other tutorials. See you. Bye.